Twitter could now be in the hands of one man, Elon Musk. A sudden turnaround following the outcry at Twitter and on Twitter. On Twitter and at Twitter, they didn't want Elon Musk to buy Twitter. But the board today agreed to sell the company to Elon Musk for $44 billion. Tonight, Twitter's founder, Jack Dorsey, weighed in on the sale, using Twitter to say no one should own Twitter, but if anyone should, it's Elon Musk. Here's the tweet from Dorsey at Jack. Twitter as a company has always been my sole issue and my biggest regret. I'm not really sure what that means, but Jack Dorsey has some interesting feelings on things. Solving for the problem of it being a company, however, Elon is the singular solution I trust. I trust his mission to extend the light of consciousness. Of course, Jack Dorsey never had a problem with it being a company when he cashed in for billions of dollars. We digress. Jim Anderson, Glasswing Ventures, joins us now. It seems like things at Twitter are already changing, right? Tucker Carlson got his account back today. The Babylon Bee came back online, which is a satirical conservative site. It's almost a coincidence.
Yeah, Leland, I'm still trying to get my mind around that Jack Dorsey tweet there. I mean, it has been a crazy day.
You know, Jim, trying to get your head around anything involving Jack Dorsey takes a long time and a few glasses of wine.
But it's, that's illustrative, I think. Elon Musk brings a lot of things. I mean, of course, he's the world's richest man. He's now going to own Twitter, but he brings a degree of energy and creativity. There's certainly some concerns. The world's richest man, yet another billionaire controlling the media we consume. I mean, there's plenty of room for concern there. But Elon Musk is a savvy operator. He launches rockets to space. He's built a car company that's more valuable than General Motors. I mean, he's done things that many of us could only dream of. So I think that the potential is amazing for what Elon Musk may be able to do with Twitter. But he's also been known to be erratic. And so the potential for misuse is similarly amazing in the other direction. And I think everybody's just on the edge of their seats wondering what is going to be next.
Yeah, it's sort of like a great reality TV show that plays out on social media. What could be better for all of us? The overarching question always is will President Trump get his Twitter account back, which every member of the media either openly or secretly hopes that he does, because then we'll have more things to talk about. But you think about sort of the precedent this sets. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Michael Bloomberg obviously owns Bloomberg. Big media companies that have major says. How much does this all of a sudden insulate Elon Musk? Because as we know in Washington, you don't go after Amazon for fear of Jeff Bezos. Will people not go after Tesla and SpaceX and Twitter because Elon Musk owns Twitter?
I don't know that this makes that any more likely. I mean, obviously, he's going to control Twitter, and that could mean lots of things. But Twitter has 7,000 employees. That's something that he, as an operator, is going to have to find a way to inspire and motivate those employees. And I think, sort of acting like a secretive billionaire and individually blocking direct messages or, putting his hands on the lever of individual decisions like that's going to be remarkably difficult for him. So I tend to be more optimistic. I look at the positives and the potential here. I am also quite encouraged by what he said just today in a tweet when he said, hey, Twitter is a place for free speech. That includes criticism of me. And he is a notoriously thin-skinned individual. Historically, he has not welcomed criticism of Elon Musk. So to see him say that is, at least refreshing. We'll see whether he can live up to that. But it's certainly the right thing to be saying on a day like today.
Marnie, what's stunning always to me is when you listen to or you read the response on Twitter to Twitter being bought, because where else do we all go but to Twitter to figure things out, is how many people are scared, angered, really sort of bent out of shape over the idea of someone saying we believe in free speech.
Yeah, well, I think what concerns me, and Jim, weigh in on this, is an op-ed I read this morning in the Chicago Tribune about freedom of the press and kind of the larger issue at hand when you have a tech company really acting as the gatekeeper of information, a place where people get their information. Doug Schoen wrote this morning, the founders could not have envisioned a future in which nearly all news and information would be controlled by just a handful of private entities. This is not only blatantly unfair, it is a threat to the free press and thus to democracy itself. When he acts as gatekeeper, do the floodgates open and information is no longer vetted? People are able to get what they want to get, hear what they want to hear, post what they want to post. Where is the greater threat here?
Yeah, I understand the concern. I mean, again, wealthy people controlling the outlets that we consume, our media from is a concern. But I think of William Randolph Hearst, right? This is not a new issue, and I'm not sure. Yes, we've got algorithmic issues and concerns about how the algorithms work, and I do think that one of the things Elon Musk has talked about is transparency in the algorithms. I like that conceptually, although I think that's going to be a my mathlete is better than your mathlete kind of situation. How many of us can truly go in and understand these algorithms? So that may be one of those things that sounds better than it is in reality, but directionally, it's the kind of thing I think we need to be talking about for all tech companies is how do we understand the mechanisms by which these decisions are being made by machines largely, and the impact that has on what we see, and just as importantly, what we don't see.
Great point about William Randolph Hearst. You think about Old Man McCormick in Chicago. You think about the Pulitzers. The list goes on and on of the big media families, obviously the New York Times family as well. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.